What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, May 25th. I'm going to start it over again because I think we are live now. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you made it here today. I'm quite aware, ladies and gentlemen, I'm quite aware you could have been anywhere in this world today, but you decided to be here with me, and I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays on this lovely afternoon, evening here on Tuesday, May 25th, and here in New York City. Man, we have an action-packed show today. We don't have a guest, but no, we do have a guest. You, the Transition Army, you're here today. So we're going to be talking about a couple of things. And before we do, and my man, Jason Benton, the man child, is joining us. What's going on, JB? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my friend. We had Jason Ben on here a couple of weeks ago. Check out the show. Transition Tuesdays, and his interview was great. Rewind that back. I'll talk to you how you can do that as well once we're done here today, okay? But before we start the show, I always like to state my intentions. My intentions is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life transition. So that's what we do here today, okay? And this day is this marks the first anniversary, the 1-year anniversary of the George Floyd murder, and we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, I just want to recap, because I just celebrated a birthday this past Sunday, May 23rd, and I celebrated my 52nd birthday, 5-2. So first off, I'll be remiss if I don't shout out my special friend Felicia, who merely made my birthday a lovely and a memorable one. We had an opportunity to go to dinner in Georgetown, this great restaurant, this great Italian restaurant, and Felicia really, she made the day special for me. So Felicia, I thank you so much for being a part of my birthday. Really appreciate you. Really, really appreciate you. So yeah, so we great time, turned 52. I don't feel any older or what have you yet. So I just keep going with the flow, and I'm just so glad to be here on my 52nd birthday, on the other side. So, because we did lose a lot of people, and I'm just blessed to be here. I'm just blessed to be here and, sharing my experiences with you all here on Transition Tuesday. So, that's the recap. And, I got some great gifts too. I got some great gifts. I'm gonna talk about that a little later on. Got some great gifts on my birthday. It was a special and memorable day. My birthday, May 23rd, and yeah. And also, I'll be remiss as well. Shout out to everybody who took the time out of their life schedules to send me birthday wishes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. So, so that was my birthday in a nutshell. So let's talk about, guys, the 1-year anniversary of the George Floyd murder. I want to open it up to the Transition Army on that. And, today you had the meeting of President Biden, Vice President Harris, and they met with the family of the George Floyd family, and they discussed police reform legislation. And I wanted to really read this information about that. And I want to read this to be really clear and frank with this, what Vice President Kamala Harris stated today earlier, and I just want to share with you guys, and that way we can discuss it as well. So, Vice President Kamala Harris urged Congress to, quote, act with a sense of urgency. Okay, act with a sense of urgency. Okay, to pass police reform legislation in a statement released today. Like President Biden, Vice President Harris said more needs to be done to address racial injustice. And then early this afternoon, Harris and Biden met with the family of George Floyd on the anniversary of his death, which is today, May 25th, to discuss police reform. Now, this is a quote from Vice President Kamala Harris. She says, and I quote, "After Mr. Floyd was murdered, Senator Cory Booker, Representative Karen Bass and I introduced the Justice in Policing Act to hold law enforcement accountability and build trust between law enforcement and the communities it serves. She also went on to say Congress must move swiftly and act with a sense of urgency. Passing legislation will not bring back those lives lost, but it will represent much needed progress. Okay. Also, Vice President Harris also went on to say that the video of Mr. Floyd's death 1 year ago revealed to the country what Black Americans have known to be true for generations. And she went on to say the verdict finding Derek Chauvin guilty of murder provided some measure of justice, but one verdict does not address the persistent issue of police misconduct and use of excessive force, unquote, by Vice President Kamala Harris. So I want to talk to you guys about that. And we got Terry Gaffney, who was on here. He's disguising himself as his wife. I know she's on Facebook. I know Terry isn't on there, but Terry said he's in. So yeah, Terry, give me, if you got any questions, anybody out there got any questions about we're about to discuss the 1 year anniversary of George Floyd's murder, please chime in the comment bar there anytime you guys would like to do that. So, question for you guys, just reading that statement and everything. Do you remember where you were when you first saw the video or first got word of the video? And I want to get your feelings on it as well. So I'll share first. So I'm with a group chat with some of my closest friends, like 7 or 8 of us closest friends. And I remember my guy Kawan, he sent this video out to everybody. It was early. I believe it was like towards the afternoon, early morning. And he sent this out, and I remember him making the comments. This doesn't look good, with this particular video, and and it wasn't just that, it wasn't good at all, and my feelings on it was I was just horrified watching that video, really horrified watching it, because in actuality, like I mentioned earlier, remember last year I mentioned this, George Floyd could have been me. George Floyd looked very similar to me. George Floyd was, the same size, bald head, what have you, looked very similar to George Floyd. So my feelings was one of anxiety, one of anger, oh my God, one of mistrust of the police. We knew that already, but now we're seeing this on video. So I had a lot of feelings, conjured up a lot of feelings and emotions. And again, everybody was at home, because everybody, yeah. So where I know I was at home when I first saw the video, but it just conjured up many mixed emotions and feelings when I saw it. But I want to get you guys' take. What was, where were you when you first saw the video, and what was your feelings on the video as well? Now we got Chris B. Williams, the voice of the Jaspers and many other media outlets. Pick and Pop. Mac Chat, he's joined us today. He says, my man, Horse, what's going on, Smooth? Welcome, man, to Transition Tuesdays, my friend, always, brother, always. So, I just wanted to get everybody's feelings on that. Where were you? I'm sure you're at home, okay? So you can answer that. But, I want to get your feelings on, how you felt when you saw this video for the first time. And I know it was tough to watch and difficult to watch, but it was very necessary. And thank God for that young lady the 17-year-old young lady at the time who taped this, because, without that video, this verdict, the verdict of Derek Chauvin being convicted of murder would have probably went a different way. This probably could have been swept under the rug, So thank God for that young lady. Thank God for that young lady filming the video, man. So, I just want to get your thoughts on that, and and talk about, police reform. I want to get back to the police reform and how I think how that can be, if anything, people talk about legacies, like what would be George Floyd's legacy? And I think his legacy could be, if we get this police reform legislation, this act or this bill passed, in which police will be held responsible for their actions. I mean, that can serve as a legacy for George Floyd. Him not dying in vain. And I'm sure that's the reason why the family met with the, Biden and Harris to discuss that police reform legislation, because that's big. So that could be the legacy, his legacy. And, we got to really check on that, because that's an important measure, about people's legacies on that as well. So let me just read here. So I'm gonna read some comments. So excuse me. So Terry mentioned, he says, I was home when I saw it. I went into shock. I watched the second time right away, and whatever George Floyd did or did not do, I could not believe how callous the cop was, especially after that young woman pleaded for him to stop. Yeah. So yeah, I got you on that, Terry. Shock. Yeah, that's a great word. Fear of shock of seeing that, because I don't know about you guys, but like in terms for me, I just was like, man, we are witnessing a murder right there on video. We're witnessing a murder, and I was shocked too. I just put myself in the same shoe. That could have been me. That was my feelings on it as well. That could have definitely been me. So, yeah, man. Now, I appreciate you for sharing that, Terry. Appreciate you, my man. But what did everybody else think out there? What was your feelings when you first saw the video? Were you enraged? Were you shocked like Terry? It's very important. And yeah, so we have to see what the legacy of George Floyd is going to be. That remains to be seen. But again, if you pass laws on it about police reform legislation, you pass laws, that's when changes can be done, when things are set in law as law. And I'm hoping the legacy, and I'm hoping this verdict, and for Derek Chauvin will be one, police officers, if they're ever faced in that situation and they're pulling their gun out, maybe this might serve as a deterrent for them not to shoot. Because if you do carelessly and callously, if you do pull the trigger like that, you can get the same results that your fellow police officer Derek Chauvin has received. So hopefully this can serve as a deterrent, for police officers out there, if they're going to be shooting, unarmed black people out here, black and brown people out here, by the hands of the police. Should serve as a deterrent. And and just thinking about the video, the video and the death really sparked the emergence. It was already there already, but about Black Lives Matter. Those three words, Black Lives Matter. And due to this video, led to protests, not only here in this country, but throughout this world. And the great thing about it was, through the protest, it was actually, done, the majority of the people. Let me just take this call. Hold on a second. Let me take this call. Hold on a second. Let me see something. Maggie. Hey, Maggie.
Hi.
Hey, hello. Hey, this is Hey, Maggie. You are on Transition Tuesdays right now. So, No. I want you to be here because I had a question for you. Now, Aunt Maggie. Now you know that today marks the 1-year anniversary of the George Floyd, murder, right? And you're aware of that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So, Aunt Maggie, I want to ask you, because I've been asking my viewers, and do you remember, like, the first time you saw that video? How did it make you feel when you saw that video of George Floyd, like that actual murdering that we saw? Like, what was your feelings on that when you saw that video for the first time?
I just couldn't hardly take it. The way that man was,
yeah.
Yeah. It was just terrible.
Yeah, it was. It really was. It really was. And yeah.
I forgot that day was Tuesday. And I know you were on the phone.
No, that's okay. But I'm glad that you called. No, because I wanted to get your feelings and sentiments on it. No, I'm glad that you called. And so we're getting a lot of, I've been talking to the viewers, the Transition Army, and they've been talking about their feelings towards it as well. So no, I'm glad to get your feelings on it. And the one thing I asked you, Maggie, like I'm going to ask the Transition Army as well. Do you think that this will create change? How people, our black and brown people, are treated by the hands of the police? Do you think that maybe, this verdict and, this just George Floyd video, maybe it might create change down the line to make it a little better? You think that might be the case maybe one day?
It might be, and we're working on it, and
Right.
I hope that it will happen.
Yeah.
I hope it will happen.
Absolutely. Yep. I hope it'll happen in our lifetimes, but this was a good spark. And like I tell people, you were going to say, Mag? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, things have gotten better. 'Cause,
Yes. It's gotten better.
Things have gotten better.
Yep.
So,
Yep. It's gotten better. We got a long way to go still, but this is a good start. I think this is a really good, this is a really good start, because this was a little bit different than what we've seen in the past, because the world changed, not just the United States, but the world changed on how we view it and how of a heinous act this was. You agree with that, Mag?
yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. We have come from a mighty long way.
Mighty long way, but we still got a long way to go. But this is a good starting point as we celebrate the life of George Floyd. He was a human being, and that's the great thing I like that, Meg. I know you watching the trial. They really represented him as a human being, you know what I mean? And I think that was important for them to get a conviction on Derek Chauvin. You do agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, Aunt Maggie, I know you didn't mean to call, but you made the show, and I know my people in the DMV area would love to hear from my Aunt Maggie, and they have today. So this is purely, you were live on this, Aunt Maggie, and Aunt Maggie, you always do a great job. So.
Well, thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you later.
Absolutely, thank you, Aunt Maggie. Love you.
Love you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. Oh man. That was my Aunt Maggie from the DMV area. And hey, she hit on the nose, You never know what can happen when the show is live. So my Aunt Maggie, gave us sentiments about it. So yeah, want to get your sentiments as well. Guys, want to get your sentiments on as well. What did you feel? What did you feel when you saw the video for the first time? What did you feel about it, man? So we're in the feelings here and how you felt about it. And my Aunt Maggie was very adamant about it. And maybe, like she said, it can spark change. Maybe this can spark the change that we want to see. And like I was mentioning earlier, before my Aunt Maggie came and talked about it, again, this George Floyd, this video and this murder was a little bit different than the ones we've seen in the past. Because again, it not only sparked Black Lives Matter movement, major protests, not only in this country, but throughout the world. And in these protests, there was more white people in these protests because they were alarmed by what went down and what they saw, what they visualized, what they actually saw in this video, and they really took the forefront on that. And they were really angry and perturbed about it. So, and I think with that, you can see some change because of that. So, Terry says, has the world changed as a result of George Floyd's murder? That's a good question. I'm gonna bring that up to the people. Let's see. Now, start by considering this. Is it possible his murder energized enough people that we ended up with Biden-Harris instead of Trump-Pence? Good question. So let me just recap that. So here's the question that Terry mentioned. Terry says, has the world changed as a result of George Floyd's murder? Okay. Let me answer that one, and then you guys can chime in as well. I think the world has changed. Again, I think this is a spark as a result of George Floyd's murder. We're hoping that it has changed for the better. Hopefully this can start, or this had started conversation and letting society know how racist this country is. So I think, we really get a chance to see what this country is all about. So has the world changed as a result of George Floyd's murder? I would say yes. Okay, to that. And I'll take Terry's second question. He says, is it possible George Floyd's murder energized enough people that we ended up with the Biden-Harris instead of Trump-Pence? Absolutely, yes. Yes, that is the case. I think it energized enough people mobilized and saw we needed a change from this Trump-Pence administration. You know, and I go back to that administration. When this went down, this video went down, this number 45, because again, I can't and I will not and I refuse to mention this guy being the president. So number 45, the former president, okay, but number 45, during this time of George Floyd's death, he didn't even, mention it that about George Floyd. He didn't even have his name in his mouth to say that until later on. So we saw how that was. So with this change in this new administration, yeah, I think this murder helped energize enough people to go out there and vote for change and vote for the change that that we want to see. So yeah, to answer your question on that, Terry, yes, I think this murder did energize enough people that we ended up with Biden-Harris instead of getting ousting Trump-Pence. So that's a good thing, and that could be a legacy that we talked about earlier about George Floyd as well. That could be the case as well. But what do you guys think? Okay, do you think, based on Terry's question? Thank you so much, Terry, for chiming in on that. Has the world changed as a result of George Floyd's murder? That's the first question. And the second one, is it possible his murder energized enough people that we have Biden-Harris instead of Trump-Pence? Okay, so Terry goes on. He says, definitely a change and definitely for the better. But to play off your metaphor of lighting a spark, when one blows smoothly and steadily on a spark, you get a fire. When you blow too hard and too fast on a spark, you blow out the spark. Let me see. Let's see. You blow out the spark. Think of our goal as a marathon. Think of our goal as a marathon, not a sprint. Slow and steady. Run at a pace you can maintain. Now, this is Terry here giving his pearls of wisdom. I'm going to read this again. I'm going to read Terry's response again. Okay. So Terry says, definitely a change, definitely for the better. But to play off your metaphor, my metaphor of lighting a spark, when one blows smoothly and steadily on a spark, just think about that. Just think about the visual of that. Okay. What Terry's talking about, giving these pearls of wisdom. When one blows smoothly and steadily on a spark, you get a fire. When you blow too hard and too fast on a spark, you blow out the spark. Think of our goal as a marathon, not a sprint. Slow and steady. Run at the pace you can maintain. Absolutely, Terry, absolutely. No doubt about that. Yeah. So, man, I tell you, the pearls of wisdom by Terry Gaffney, by TG Terry Gaffney. Appreciate that, Terry. Very much so, man. And open it up to conversation like we're having now. Open up the conversation about it. But this is definitely a change. This is definitely a change. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So I want to ask you guys this as well as we're pondering that and the other questions. Again, feel free to chime in, ladies and gentlemen, as well. So my question is this. Like, what is your takeaway from George Floyd's death? What did it reveal? Or what is your takeaway? And I think I'll go first. And I touched upon it a little bit earlier. I think what the takeaway for me on George Floyd's death is we really see, and we really got a chance to see, we knew this, black people, black and brown people, we knew this already, but we really get a chance to see, and Kamala Harris, spoke about it in the press junket I just read earlier, was America is still a racist country. You know what I mean? That really exposed that. That showed you that. So that's my takeaway from it. Now, also another takeaway is, through protest comes change. So through this, people open arms. Black Lives Matter has emerged, saying that Black lives do matter. And we went to protest, and protest leads to new laws on the books. So my takeaway is you protest, you hit people financially in the pockets, and things will change for the better. You have trials. You have trials early. We don't have to wait for years to have this Derek Chauvin trial. It was less than a year. You convict these people. You convict these officers who commit these heinous acts, and you act accordingly. And you have hopefully this serves as a deterrent for these police officers to think twice before you shoot, because this same result can happen to you that happened to Derek Chauvin. So hopefully this will be a deterrent. So that's my takeaway. But what's your takeaway? What do you take away from this death, the death of George Floyd? And, what does it reveal? And that could be a lot for different people, but, I'll give my take, but I'm anxious to hear what everybody else is thinking on that as well. Okay. Okay. All right. Anybody else commenting? Let's see. Reach out in the comments bar. See what we get. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, bittersweet day today. Oh man. I still can't believe it's been 1 year. This actually happened again. I remember like it was yesterday because it was 2 days after my birthday, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like my boy Kawan says, on the text thread, when he sent the video to everybody, he's like saying, man, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good. This doesn't look good. And boy, oh boy, was he correct on this. But but if this video or his life can serve as a wake-up call, and police reform legislation can be formed because of this, hopefully George Floyd doesn't die in vain. His name will be kept alive, his name and other people involved, the hands of police brutality, the hands of black and brown people. You just hope this can serve as a deterrent for the police officers. You just hope laws can be changed and laws can be in the books, to take care of, situations like this. But my feelings, again, horror, shocked, and hopefully we won't have to go through anything like this again. You just never know. I mean, we're seeing it already. I mean, we're seeing it after George Floyd's death, with the police shooting. Yeah, excuse me. But, we shall see. We shall definitely see. We shall definitely see. Man, oh man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So I don't know. Well, we're gonna keep on going here. Yeah, definitely, man, oh man. So anybody else out there? But again, but I'll say this before we head on out pretty soon is, and again, I keep reading the comments by Terry Gaffney, and they're important because if you just think about the words that are being said, the jewels that are being dropped by Terry. I think it's very important here. And before I read it again. Terry responds again. Terry says, his takeaway away from police brutality, the biggest takeaway for me, this is Terry talking, is that this incident has had two major impacts on the white community. And I full disclosure, Terry is a white man. Okay, so among us, those among us who have been, let me see, what is that word? I'm sorry. Sympathetic all along. We are now energized to do more than support, and are willing. Hold on one second. Want to support and are willing to push for change. And those among the white crowd who have silently agreed are now talking out loud. Time for black communities to tap into both of these resources. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I agree with you, Terry. And again, and it's unfortunately what I'm about to say, but it's the truth. And I only speak truth is, people expected the black community to be up in arms, but when the white community was up in arms, there can be, room for change. When you see in Black Lives Matter movements and these protestings, if you see more blacks than whites, there is room for change, because you see the up, they were appalled by what took place. So I think there is room for change, and I think change can occur when white people are who are upset about the incident more than black people in this case. Because we're going to be, black and brown people are going to be up in arms when we saw this video. But it's a little bit different dynamic when white people are up in arms and they're out on the front lines protesting, and there are more white people than black people protesting for the Black Lives Matter movement and for like the, for Black Lives Mattering. So that's when you see change occur. And that's what took place. That's what exactly has taken place. And again, this is just a spark. Let's just hope this is just a spark, to really ignite this and cause this change, because you need the spark first. But again, like Terry says, don't blow on it. Don't blow out the spark, right? This is a marathon, okay? Not a sprint. Okay, he talks about slow and steady. Run at the pace you can maintain. That is so, so true. That is so, so true. And also, like Terry also mentioned, time for the black community to tap into both of those resources. Yes, the resources of the black community, the resources of the white community as well. Have the dialogue, have the discussion, okay, so we can go further and learn from this. We need to learn, we need to learn from the death of George Floyd. We got to make sure this young man did not die in vain. We have to have laws. Police reform legislation has to be on the books. The Senate cannot, like Kamala Harris, I'm gonna pull up the quote again, like Kamala Harris says, she urges Congress to act with a sense of urgency. You cannot drop the ball on this. You cannot drop the ball on this. Okay? I know the president is just waiting for this law to be signed on his desk. He's just waiting for the law to be, to come to his desk so he can sign off on it. Congress, you cannot drag your feet on this one. Act with a sense of urgency, like Kamala Harris, the VP, Vice President. I'm going to say that with respect. Vice President Kamala Harris says, act with a sense of urgency, Congress. This is on you to get this done, okay? To make this young man not die in vain, so his name can ring true into this. And that's how you create change. Having the police reform legislation act and the bills in place to make this act and make this law. So this heinous act can't happen again. But when you have it on the books, that's when it can happen. That's when changes occur, when laws are passed to prevent this heinous act. Okay? Now, so ladies and gentlemen, if we were able to make you laugh, smile, or think during this broadcast, my good friends, you have accomplished something major today. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory today. And again, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to celebrate you guys, the Transition Army. I'm going to celebrate you guys. I'm going to give you guys applause, okay? I'm going to give you guys the applause for tuning in to Transition Tuesdays and what you do each and every Tuesday. I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. So I'm going to give applause to me, okay, for celebrating my 52nd birthday, to be here. So we're going to clap it up for each other. That's what we're going to do here. That's what we're going to do here. My theme music. Yes. All right. Again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching Transition Tuesdays. Thank you so much. And if you missed this show and other shows, please go to my YouTube channel, okay? Transition Tuesdays. And when you're on the channel, please like and subscribe, okay, while you're on the YouTube channel, Transition Tuesdays. I appreciate that. Also, guys, you can follow me on Instagram or IG, as the young kids say, okay, at RWorld Transitions. That's RWorld Transitions with an S. So you can always follow me there on Instagram. And I would be remiss again, and special shout out to my special friend, Felicia Evans Long, okay? Now, I want to share this with you. I know she's probably going to kill me, but I got some gifts for my 52nd birthday, but what I'm about to show you that I received from from Felicia. Now, it says candy mix. So inside here is, in this box, I'm gonna open it slightly. Okay, it's candy mix, and the little candies. Okay, cherry chocolate, not chocolate. I'm so sorry. Cherry flavored candies. That my good friend, my special friend Felicia gave me. Man, oh man, I tell you, with this, she knows I'm a huge fan of music. She gave this to me. Now I want to say this to you guys, okay? Now Felicia has, and I want you guys to go after the show. I want you to go to Sweet Candy Cafe, okay? So that's sweetcandycafe.com. You can get candies like this, okay? Candies for any occasion, okay? You can get candies from Felicia at Sweet Candy Cafe, okay? And when you're doing that, when you're going on there, tell them Russ Williams sent you. And also, check it out. When you're on there, when you're on the website for Felicia, sweetcandycafe.com, when you're on there, I want you guys to check out Felicia's story on that. So she has a great story. The University of Phoenix did a nice piece on her. Click on that video. That video has been watched. Over 750,000 people have viewed that video. Check it out, okay? Sweetcandycafe.com, Felicia. I know you're going to kill me, Felicia, but it's all good, okay? And I hope to have you on a future show, Felicia, so you can tell your story, all right? All right. Also, before we head on out, look out for Stuck on Stupid, 3 Words of Redemption. Okay? The book is coming soon. It's coming soon. We're going to talk about that. Stuck on Stupid, coming soon. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, as we say in parting, happy transitioning, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, everybody. God bless. And finally, last but not least, please say a prayer for the George Floyd family. Okay? On this day, this 1-year anniversary of the death of George Floyd. Take care, everybody. Peace.